story would be about like a company who has been in the industry from 1972. So they have been historically in retail slash e-commerce for the longest time, and how they built a data stack which was scalable and that could evolve with their own growth as well. So they had like a couple of challenges that they wanted to tackle. So since it was a very, very old company, what happens is the data first mindset takes some time to evolve, right? Once that kind of conversation started, they actually chose up the same process like we discussed in the initial few slides. So like the stage one of manual scripting and downloads, exports, trying to make sure your Excels do the job. But eventually that breaks off when there's a sizable company or there's sizable data for that matter. It generally does not give you very clear pathway to success. So that was one of their challenges. Then they moved on to the manual scripting part where they were doing their own manual scripting and whatnot. And people used to spend months and hours and days to build one connector. So I remember them telling me that like four engineers building one connector in 2 weeks, which is a lot of time if you consider like a company of the scale, right? So there was like a lot of data that was scattered, and there was a lot of historical data as well, because considering like they are there from 1972, they had a lot of contextual historical data, and their existing infrastructure could not really handle the kind of growth that they were seeing and the kind of e-commerce growth that they were seeing at that moment of time. So how they found out something like Hevo, and they connected their 52 plus sources into it, and this is how their data stack eventually ended up looking like. So connected all of those 52 sources with Hevo, and ended up landing it in Snowflake. So there were a couple of initial outcomes that they were able to achieve, which was more like um, they saw like 91% of their historical data only got transferred into Hevo in 4.5 days, which is a lot, because considering the companies there has been there for years, it becomes very important for the scale of data that they were trying to push, and how much they were able to push, how quickly, right? They also save like 12 plus engineering days, like I said, like taking 2 weeks, four engineers taking 2 weeks to make these API integrations. And those integrations also were very brittle, so they used to break off more often. So uh, they saved up a lot of time, a lot of money as well, and also their visibility of dashboards that we were talking about before increased by 50%. So I remember them telling that they started using their dashboards in first week itself, and they eventually saw 50,000 hits in the first week, which is like all their sales team were more involved in using those dashboards, building their pipelines, and also keeping a track of information and keeping a track of sales that they were having.